In recent times, we have heard in the news the problems of plastic waste being a huge factor, and if it's going to affect the longevity of our planet. Not only is plastic waste becoming a huge issue for our wildlife, but it's being a big issue for our wildlife and our ecosystem. According to Chelsea Onman, a student at the University of California Veterinary Medicine, and Mark Anthony Bowen, a worker at the National Center for Ecological Analysis and Synthesis, state that plastic debris can be harmfully cause wildlife. Even more, many plastics can be chemically harmful in some contexts because themselves are potentially toxic or they absorb other pollutants. And countries like the United States, Japan, and Australia are treating plastic waste as just normal garbage rather than going through the process of recycling. And this is creating a big issue, as we know, as not only is plastic waste being a huge factor in the longevity of our planet, but it's also causing many health issues with humans and causing many problems and deaths within our wildlife system that is transposed into our ecosystem, which we're having seen a lot of extinct animals are having problems in the Gulf, or we've seen all those very sad pictures on the internet, and the disadvantages of plastic. Health issues in humans are a very considerable reason of why plastic waste it's a big issue, since according to Rochman and Bowman, studies in humans and mussels have found that ingesting and inhaling microplastic molecules into cells gets into the cells and tissues where it can harm them. So that means, we're out here, we breathe them in and we're slowly killing ourselves in a way, if you think about it, since it's affecting our cells and our tissues, and our cells are our main focus of life. And this could lead up into a potentially bigger issue. Also, they said, Bowen and Richmond said that patients who have knee or hip joint replacements with plastic implants, particles such can disrupt and to cellular process and degrade tissue. That means we're doing our best to recycle the plastics, but then again we're putting it back into people's body, and like I previously stated, it gets into our cells and it's degenerating our cells and our tissue. So it's basically, instead of helping us, we're actually kind of hurting ourselves, and this can be a really huge major issue for people who have those issues. The cons of plastic, plastic waste has a lot of disadvantages. According to Rochman, the United States alone is worth $1 trillion and employs 1.1 million people, and yet dealing with plastic waste is heavily costly, and removing litter. Most of the plastic just the plastic from the West Coast runs about $5 to $20 million every year to get it cleaned up, and not all of it gets cleaned up. So if you give into the fact that just the West Coast of the United States takes $5 to $20 million to get it cleaned up, now you put in account the central and the eastern part of the country. It's way too much money, and yet we're not getting all the plastic that's needed to get recycled for all this, to get recycled and be put it back where it should be and be reusable again. Roger Bowman also said that it's pretty difficult to recycle. Not all people are on the custom on the fact of going green of recycling, so this is causing a bigger issue in how we are recycling. Not a lot of people recycle, and this is causing more of the add-on of the plastic waste that's going on within the country. Also according to Malika Schaefer, a writer for Game Times, ordinary plastic bags take more than 40 years to dissolve back into the soil and can release dangerous chemicals into the soil when they break down. So since plastic bags only have been around for about 50 years, we don't really know the side effects or the decomposition state of plastic bags over a period of time. So this could potentially be a very harmful and a very lethal way to probably kill ourselves, or even kill our soil grounds as we put it in the landfills, because it could release a really bad chemical that could potentially end up drying out soils and causing a lot of harm issues for our agricultural life and even our ecosystem life. The side effects on our wildlife are very tremendous. Rutchen Borman said that pesticides and organic pollen such as polypeptides are constantly found in plastic waste, with hormone concentrations 100 times those found in sediments and 1 million those occurring in seawater. So that means we're having huge amounts of concentrations of plastic debris and molecules into our wildlife, into our ecosystem, period. This is affecting our marine life to the maximum, as it's having 1,000,000 times the concentration that someone else will have here on ground. You know, also Chelsea also stated that the seabirds are experiencing 300 times the amount of concentration intake of plastic debris during their time. So that means if we put this in relationship, the seabirds are consuming all that plastic waste since our marine life, and if it's going into our marine life, our shrimp and all our seafood is being affected. So we're potentially eating plastic out of animals, which is a very, very, very important issue that we need to take care of. You know, as I stated throughout this whole speech, health issues on the humans are a very important thing, and it could be potentially lethal since it disintegrates our cells and our tissues. While the disadvantages of plastic are causing a lot of money for our taxpayers and ourselves, and causing a lot of money for taxpayers in the country, and we're still not getting the amount of it correctly, and not getting rid of it correctly, and the effect on our wildlife is completely detrimental, and it's very bad of how we're resolving this whole issue, as they're being consumed with large amounts of concentrations. So not only were we destroying ourselves, but it's an issue that needs to be taken in consideration, and it needs to be taken into account, as our planet it's the most important thing that's going to come up here in the in future generations. If we don't take care of it, they're going to have a bad planet. And instead of putting other issues first, recycling plastic waste should be a part of every political, and this should be part of every political mainstream and every political speech, as it's the future for our planet and the future for us. Cut it.